This video is sponsored by our friends at Kamikoto. Kamikoto taps into more than 800 years of traditional techniques from Japan to craft incredibly sharp, single bevel knives. These beautiful knives are made from the finest Japanese steel, and they've elevated my cooking game significantly. Each knife comes in a beautiful, heavy-duty ashwood box. They also make for an incredible gift. Each Kamikoto knife goes through a rigorous 19-step process that takes several years from start to finish to complete. Each knife is individually inspected, and Kamikoto is so confident about their knives that each one comes with a lifetime guarantee. These knives are incredible, and you don't have to take my word for it. They have been used by Michelin star chefs all over the world, and if you don't love them, you will get a full refund. Right now, Kamikoto is having their biggest sale of the year. Go to kamikoto.com/Chael. That's going to save $50 off your entire purchase price, or just click the link below. Use the promo code Chael and you will save $50 today. Guys, do you remember MMA Live? Does that ring a bell to you? Like, you'd have to be a really hardcore fan. You have to go back a long way. But this was one of the first shows ever done on MMA. And it was done on ESPN. And it was only put on the internet. But it was a huge opportunity for our sport. Even if it was a little internet show, right? Which the kids now call digital. I don't know why they call it digital instead of saying it's on the internet. Let it go. MMA Live, it was kind of a first of its kind, and great memories from that back then, and I got to participate on that. And I didn't fully know what to do. You had to wear a tie, by example. I didn't have a suit in the time, and when I tell you that I was unequipped for this and it was an opportunity, I didn't even have the clothing that you needed to wear. Nate Diaz had a fight, and prior to the fight, we go in MMA Live, we get a little discussion, we cover it. And Nate was fighting a gentleman I didn't know. I was not familiar with him. Very hard name to pronounce. The guy was a pretty heavy kicker. I just didn't know a lot about him. So when we go out and we're doing the actual show, one of the other analysts and people on the show kind of gave a breakdown. Talked about Nate with the jab, but this guy comes outside and he lands the kick, and Nate got to block that, and he's got to fire back, and he gives really a good X's and O's, and then they come to me and we're live. And I say, yeah, I think Nate gets it done. That's what I say. Yeah, I think Nate gets it done. All right, great. The next guy comes in and he bails me out and he kind of does this X and O's. These guys had more experience and I was very new. When the whole thing was done, I get pulled in. Kieran Portley, I get pulled into his office and he says, hey, when I bring you out here, bring you in from Oregon, put you in this role. When I bring you out here and we go on TV, I need an analysis. I cannot have, yeah, I think he gets it done. That's not an analysis. Okay. I was brand new. I just learned something. Now, simple story. Very simple story. But as we look at who's next for Pereira, and I think that it's a very interesting spot. I think it was interesting even going to this fight with Adesanya. Adesanya was the favorite, but if Pereira becomes the champion, if you look at the field, they would have been the favorite over Pereira. Even as champion, Robert Whittaker would be the favorite to beat Pereira. Paulo Costa would be the favorite to beat Pereira. They could come back and show us that isn't true, but I just always thought that was interesting. Like, that's a very interesting dynamic. So now that the fight's done, we've got to look and we've got to see who's next. Now, Adesanya is next. I make a conversation. Now that we've got to see who's next, and you start to try to guess, but your guess is also who you hope, who you want. Robert Whittaker has come out, and he said that Pereira, oh, he's so big, and he talked about, I've been face-to-face with Adesanya. Adesanya's big. But when Pereira is next to Adesanya, Pereira is even bigger than Adesanya. Whittaker talked about, he said, I can't believe this isn't more of a talking point, why people aren't talking about his size and how big he is. And he gets done praising him, and then he simply says, but I think I could take him. Now, when Kieran Portley pulled me into his office and he told me, I need more from you than, yeah, I think he can get it done. If we're going to find a number one contender for Pereira, I need more than, I think I can take him. So as we're Shocking names off the list, right? One way to figure out who we're going to go to is who we're going to go to, but you can also do it in reverse order of who we're not going to go to, and you see who's left. I think I can take him isn't going to get that done. It's not going to make the match. And at 185 pounds right now, it is a bit of a peculiar spot because you have some really great competitors that are already matched up. Like Sean Strickland versus Jared Cannonier, that's a really interesting fight, particularly where these guys are finding each other, both coming out, being heartbroken. Getting defeated, being on the same night, separated by X amount of minutes. There's just a lot of things there where this isn't just about who the better fighter is. It's also about who emotionally can respond. One thing we know about life, guys, right? Whatever goes up must come down. They were both up. They're both on a little bit of a down, but how are you going to respond to that awesome matchup? Paulo Costa, Robert Whittaker, two absolute awesome matchup, but they're busy. That's all I'm sharing for you. These guys are busy. Brunson's got something to do. Till's got something to do. Duplessis got something to do. I mean, it's one of those spots where as you start to look through it, whether you're going upwards or down, figure out who should do it or who's not going to do it, see who's left. You still come to Adesanya. Both ways still comes to Izzy, but there could be a dialogue on that. There could be a back and forth. There could be a fight. There's not going to be a dialogue. There's not going to be back and forth, and there's not going to be a fight. If the greatest thing we have to work with is, I think I can take him.